My name is Doug Jones. I live in Cowichan Bay. I was looking for a project to be able to keep myself busy as I'm now retired, and having a carriage house taken to an envelope stage allowed me to do all the interior work. So I could do the painting, the kitchen, the bathroom, put the floor in, do all those things myself, which would keep me busy over a little period of time. And at the end of it, I could stand back and be proud of my new carriage home. I'm self-employed. I do kitchen design work right now. I've been doing it for over 17 years. We started thinking about a carriage home when we moved from Ontario to here. We looked at the property and we had initially thought that we wanted an income supplement for our retirement plan. So when we looked at this property, we saw that potential for a carriage home. We put it on the back burner for a little bit, just while we were talking it out. And then it became more of a priority to expand our driveway. So we looked at expanding the driveway, and we had a rock wall that was there, and we thought that if we could get rid of the rock wall, we could expand the driveway. And I said, well, if we're going to get rid of the rock wall and we're going to expand the driveway, then why don't we look at what the cost to put a carriage home in there, because that's originally part of our plan. So that's ultimately what drove the whole beginning of the project. It was essentially wasted land. The bank that it had was a massive rock garden. We have a lot of gardens on this property, so we didn't really need more gardens. The way that the original fire pit with 2 chairs overlooking the scenery and the use of the land and the amount of weeds that were starting to develop in the blackberry bushes, and it just was becoming a nuisance. So for the purposes of having a fire on the property, and with all the fire restrictions and all the fires that are happening throughout, it didn't really make sense. The big thing for me was having my own garage. And when we bought the property sight unseen, and we just made an offer. The offer was accepted. We got here not knowing what the actual property was going to look like. We thought the driveway was a lot bigger. We thought the garage was a lot bigger. We get here, we couldn't turn our vehicles around, and I could only park one truck into the garage, and I wanted to have a garage for myself. So I went big on my garage. I could park my truck in there. I can do work in there. I like to do things with my hands. We have lots of property so that we can do a shop, and we can have the upper level rented out. The excavation work was part of our biggest concern as to how this was all going to unfold. But even if we were to expand our driveway, the excavation work was going to be a necessity. Would we have another rock wall? We looked at all that, and logic sort of leaned us into if we did a foundation with a fairly substantial wall, the house itself would act as the supporting structure. Because of where it was positioned and our view, which is ocean view, then it sort of made sense to do all that. The Airbnb and other potentials of renting out long-term to somebody was attractive as a supplement income. We don't have any plans as of yet. We are going to explore the Airbnb opportunity. We are in a desirable vacation spot. There's currently no licensing requirements for us to be a part of it. Most of our neighbors are doing Airbnb right now, but there is a housing crisis, so the likelihood is we might also just lean towards the long-term tenant. So we don't really have any firm plans as to which direction we were going to go. We're just going to continue to explore. Step one is to get carriage house built, get past the structural part of it all. One of my goals was to build a house. And so when we moved here and saw the land, I thought, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to fulfill that dream that I had of building my own house. But I really didn't know the BC requirements and what was involved with permits and the variety of other things. I needed somebody that could actually do all that. Mike's been fabulous. I had explored a lot of different options, one of which was to do a kit home, have the foundation built. I went to 10 or 15 different types of approaches, got a wide variety of different numbers and what we were looking at in terms of price. Then the driveway and excavation company suggested that I approach this person, and Mike was the one who I called. From the first phone call that I had with him, it was a good connection. Mike was very open and honest, and then we invited him to our property to have a look around, and the excavation and the driveway person was here as well, and we sort of brainstormed it and came up with different ideas of how we were going to use the land and where the placement of the house was going to be. And then from that point on, Mike just sort of nurtured me along. He was very good in terms of how he was collecting information about what I was looking at, what the finishings were going to be, because we really did want to replicate what we had already so that the house looked like it always been here. We wanted something that would sort of tie into the overall property itself. Being beside the existing house, we wanted the same siding, we wanted the same look. So I had already had an idea of what I wanted the interior to look like. He presented himself as a person that had the same passion that I had for having a finished product that I could really be proud of.